Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
Hi everyone, Sue here at 1A Auto, and today we're putting in a right front control arm on our 07 Mazda 3. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. So we're going to loosen the lug nuts with the weight of the car on the tire, and it's a 21 millimeter. Let's see if this is any. So now you're going to raise the vehicle with a jack and jack stands or a 2-post lift if you have that. And now I can take the lug nuts off. It's up in the air. .14 millimeter socket. And I'm going to put it right on that pinch bolt for that ball joint. I'm going to break the nut free before I twist that bolt free. Now, these are probably going to be pretty rusted in there, and the bolt actually might break. So whenever you're doing suspension work and you think you might be running into a bolt that looks pretty bad, it wouldn't hurt to call the manufacturer, the dealer, parts department, and see if they carry that bolt. Because sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. If they do carry it, then you know there's a good chance that it's pretty common, it's gonna break. We did that with this, and they had over 10 of these ball joint pinch bolts with nuts in stock. So I pre-got mine, and so I'm anticipating the breakage. Okay, we're going to go from the back side. I'm going to try to see if I can spin this bolt. Wow. Okay, now that I've got it spinning, I'm going to spray some more in there. So hopefully we can get that out with little effort. The knuckle is not threaded. So what's holding that in there is the pressure of the ball joint and rust. So now that I know I've got the replacement for this bolt and nut, it's just going to spin in place. So I'm going to take probably a brass punch and a hammer, and I'm going to hammer out this side. Okay, now that I've got that flush, I'm gonna now have to get a smaller punch and see if I can bang that bolt out. Okay, now you make sure no one's on the other side, because it falls right out. There you go. So now I'm going to take these main bolts off the subframe. The front one here is 17 millimeter. Nope, I'm sorry, 19 millimeter on the front bolt. I'm going to cut the plastic ties off so I can get in there hopefully with a ratchet a lot easier. So whatever is holding your shroud on, whether it's plastic ties or the actual factory hardware, I would suggest moving it, give yourself a little bit more room. I think I've got a bungee cord that I'll use, and I'll get this out of my way so I can just hopefully work a little bit easier and it won't hit my hand. Okay, so now with that down, 19 millimeter socket, let's see if we got Unfortunately, there's no way for me to get any rust penetrant spray in there. But at the same time, sometimes that protects it from the element. Okay, I broke that free, and I'm going to take my ratchet socket off because it's already starting to hit the AC compressor, and we don't want to bind that up in there. So now I'll get a ratchet wrench, 19 millimeter, finish it out. Okay. Now that it's out, let's hope that it clears the AC compressor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these out and then the ball joint out from the knuckle and hope that when that sways, I can manipulate it to get the bolt out at the angle. This is a 17 millimeter socket. These you can spray, and I sprayed from up top. They're almost a 4-inch bolt, two 4-inch bolts. Okay, let's see. It's a little time consuming because they're so long and they go through the subframe. Beautiful, there's both. To disconnect the ball joint from the knuckle, I'm just going to use a pickle fork. And I don't have to be too careful because I'm replacing the ball joint. So I'm just going to hammer it on in there. There we go. Okay. I might have to use a big pry bar now to wedge that out. All right, now with that out of the way. When doing the passenger side control arm, the forward bolt won't come out of the control arm into the subframe because the AC unit is in the way. On the driver's side, it's nice and out in the open. So this bolt is about 6 inches long, 5.5 inches. It comes right out to here. Pull it out with your hand. What we're going to do is I'm going to dismount this support bolt for this. It's like a motor mount, but it's really, they call it like a torsion mount. I'm going to take this bolt out, and then I'm going to pry the engine, rotate it forward like a cradle, and hopefully get the bolt out the rest of the way. So the bolt on this is a 17 millimeter. Okay, now that's out of the way. I'm going to take my pry bar and see what happens when I rotate this engine forward. See how much clearance I have. Looking pretty good. To remove the front forward bolt, like I told you, I dismounted the transmission strut mount, and we're going to push the engine forward. I lifted it up a little bit, and the control arm's pretty heavy, so I have someone helping me do that while I manipulate the bolt out. Okay, and here we go. That was easier with 2 people. Here we have our new control arm from 1A Auto and the manufacturer's control arm on our 07 Mazda 3 sedan. The new control arm looks exactly like the factory. It's got the same rear bushing, front pressed-in bushing, and ball joint. Comes with this packaging plastic that protects the boot for the ball joint so it doesn't get pinched during traveling package. Make sure you remove that when you install it. And same thickness, same material. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. When we're reinstalling, shall I say, I'm going to line the front up, see if I can get the rear bolts in. This is the hardest part of it because of the flex of the mount. You can see how the top bolts have that, the threads come with the actual mount. So we need to actually straighten that out like that for those to bolt up in. So I'm gonna get my 2 bolts for this and see if I can start them. I'm gonna get a pry bar in here and see if I can tweak that enough to get that top part of the mount to center. See if I can get that bolt in there. It's not that easy. And that's how you do it. Persistence. Okay, good. So now I have somebody helping me again, and they're going to pry on that engine while I line up this bolt. There we go. Perfect. Yep, that's it. Thank you. Wow. Before I remount this mount bone and lower the engine with the post jack, I'm just going to start this. I want the threads to be completely started in there. That's the last thing you want to do is have to redo it. So I'm going to put the ball joint into the knuckle. Just give it a little tap and make sure it lines up. There we go. It's the best way sometimes to get those centered is to start it like that, push on the actual knuckle, and there you go. Okay. Now I'm going to lower the engine and put that bolt back in that mount. Now it's time to put this bolt back in. There we go. And that was a 17mm socket. I'm going to start it with my ratchet wrench. What I'm doing here is I'm going to push the new ball joint up into the knuckle. If it was down lower, you can use your floor jack. It was up in the air and I've got my pole jack here, so I'm just going to take advantage of it. It might end up having to tap down a little bit on the knuckle. And be careful because it might just pop right in. So don't put your finger in there. And with some tension on there, I'm just going to tap it. So to see if it's in place, you look inside, and you'll see that cut out of that ball joint. That's where the bolt will slide past straight through. Okay, so this is where you would see and look to see if you see the cutout where the bolt passes through from that machined part of the ball joint. And it's not quite there yet, so I'm going to hit it down some more. Give it a visual. Seems like a little bit more. That looks like that should be it right there. Here I have my new pinch bolt that I picked up at the dealer, and the old one I took out. The old one, if you look at it on a flat table, when you roll it, it has a little bit of a bend to it. It seems like through the years the rust has compromised the strength of this bolt. Literally it was I think like $5.08. So, and they stock it for the safety of yourself and other people on the road and your family and loved ones. It's worth the $5 to go get the new bolt torque it in there, and we'll be all set. Now I'm going to put the bolt right through. Give it a little tap. Put the nut on the other side. Now it's clear to take the jack out, or your posts jack, whatever you have. And we can get that out of the way, and we're going to get ready to torque everything up to the manufacturer's specs. Now we're going to bottom these bolts out. The torque spec for these is 75.2 foot-pounds. So here we are at 75.2 foot-pounds. The reason why manufacturers give torque specs and not just an air gun and just rank it up in there is because these bolts and suspension parts, or anything that requires torque, has a breaking point. So if you rank it on with an air gun, you think, hey, it's tight. But if it's over tight, as it goes down the road, the bolt actually can wear out and break. So nowadays with the internet, I just say, do it once, do it right. Now we're going to move to this bolt, which is 110 foot-pounds from the manufacturer. Wish me luck. Nice. The pinch bolt in the knuckle to the lower ball joint, there are no manufacturer specs for torque, and the reason for that is basically it's exactly what it is. It's a pinch bolt. So I'm just going to tighten it. Do not over tighten it because it is a 8mm bolt. It's a small bolt, so use your judgment. 14mm socket. And I'm just going to bottom it out and really give it a nice half turn. Feel safe with that. Now we've moved on to the transaxle bushing bolt that I took out so that I can move the engine forward. It's a 17mm socket. There is no torque specs for this either. And so I'm just going to tighten it down. Once it hits bottom, give it a nice quarter turn. And there we go. Don't forget to put your splash shield back up. Where this one had plastic ties, now I gotta go get some plastic ties and tie it up for the rest of the job. Once I lower this to the ground, always tighten wheels in a star pattern. And our wheel torque on our 07 Mazda 3 is 87 foot-pounds. Always go around twice.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.